Thanks for coming through.
Yes. So,
I've been wanting to talk to you for a while.
yes, sir.
I like to have people on here that I feel like I can learn from. I feel like you're very knowledgeable. You always know what you're talking about. So,
Thank you. I try.
so I like to start from the beginning with everybody. I'm curious myself. When were you born and where were you born?
I was born in Inglewood, California. I'm a 90s baby.
Yeah.
I'm about to be 30, so you guys can do the math. But in the 90s in Inglewood.
For sure. I turned 30 this year too.
Okay, that's what's up.
Okay, is that where your family's from?
Compton, but I was born in Inglewood.
Okay.
And stayed with my dad, but yeah, most of my family's from Compton.
Okay, for sure. Who raised you growing up?
I was raised by my father predominantly.
Okay.
Stayed with my pops.
What's one of the first things you learned observing him growing up?
First thing I learned observing growing up. Always look a man in his eyes. As well as just manners and professionalism, having a great vocabulary, things I picked up from my father. Being well-spoken, representing myself well, being an effective communicator, things like that.
So why was your dad so well-spoken?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm not sure, but he was. Just
Okay.
always been good with words, as am I.
Okay. Why are you?
Because it's important to.
Yeah.
I want to communicate my point. I don't like to repeat myself, so, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something.
When did you start being that way with communicating?
Oh, man. Early on.
Yeah.
Early on. I remember in first grade testing with high school scores in English and things like that. I always just been good with words and communication.
Okay, for sure. Who introduced you to music to begin with? What was the first things you were hearing?
Music, I'd probably say my grandmothers, both of them. They both had a lot of record collections.
What was in there?
My grandmother used to play used to have Anita Baker. My grandmother actually used to have this record collection, and everything used to be in alphabetical order. So if I took a record out, I had to put it back in alphabetical order. So I remember Anita Baker, Toni Braxton, Mary J. Blige, a lot of R&B, Aretha Franklin, a lot of soul R&B, some jazz, things like that. Just a lot of old school music. Grew up listening to on both sides, both grandmothers.
Okay. What age was that when you remember listening to that?
5, 6.
Okay, for
That's
sure.
when I first got introduced. And then I remember watching the movie The Temptations and seeing Berry Gordy and the depiction of Berry Gordy and how he had Motown in Hitsville. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to do that. I want to be in the music business because of this movie.
Oh, you realized that early, first
5 or
grade?
6, I knew I was going to have a record label or do something in the music business.
Did you want to make music?
From a songwriter standpoint, I never want to be an artist, but I knew I liked writing songs.
For sure. Did you start writing songs back then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've always done that.
Have you have any of those songs come out?
Oh yeah, I've written for other artists.
Yeah. Okay, so you realized really early. What did you start when did you start taking action towards that as a career path?
Career path wise, I would say, so when I was about 12 years old, I had a friend named Lamont, and he was just outspoken, and he just did a lot. So we was walking home from school one day. He was like, hey, come in here. They got a studio in here. It was this building. So I went in there with him, and they had a studio. They had I remember a pool table and a studio behind it. And it was rappers in there, and my OG, he's now my OG, Barry, he had an entertainment company. And he started asking me what I was into, and I was telling him I was really good at designing websites and social media and stuff, MySpace, early stuff like that, Twitter at the time. And so I started doing that for all the artists that would come to the studio. A lot of artists that pulled up didn't have a MySpace, didn't have a Twitter, didn't have a website, didn't have an EPK or a press kit as we called it, didn't have those things, and I knew how to do it just naturally.
Okay. This was in Inglewood where this house was?
Oh, no, it was a building. It was a full building.
Oh, okay. It was a building.
Yeah, it was a business.
Okay, got it. It's like some type of storefront or something.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were 12, and that's when you started doing that, around 12?
Yes, around 12.
Just managing social media accounts,
Social
stuff like
media
that.
management, which became me doing PR work as well, getting them interviews. At the time, Dub Magazine, Ozone West was a publication at the time. I used to get artist interviews and that because I knew how to correspond well. I knew how to write emails and send pictures and stuff like that at 12, 13, 14.
Okay. I'm not aware of those outlets. I had probably before I was into it at all. But that sounds cool. That sounds like
yeah,
fun.
It was all we had at the time. The West was kind of in a drought for the most part.
What year was this?
This is 2008, 2009. So the only thing going at that time really is the game on a mainstream level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's around the age when I probably first started listening to NWA and like just started getting into that stuff.
Okay.
Before that, for me personally, like my dad always listened to like classic rock and stuff like that. So.
Okay, I respect him. My pops played a lot of East Coast music.
Like what?
Which is my respect for lyricism comes from.
Okay.
Gangstar, Guru, just a lot of mafioso rap, just a lot of Rockefeller, Bad Boy, State Prop, just a lot of East Coast rap, which I have an affinity for that too. I have an affinity for hip hop, but obviously West Coast has my heart. But I love hip hop from all regions because of my pops.
Can you remember your earliest memory?
My earliest memory, that's a great question. I actually can. I remember being on the couch in my grandmother's house on 84th and Crenshaw and getting off the couch and walking down the hallway and going into her room. That's the first time I remember. I was 4 years old.
You said your grandmother's house?
At my grandmother's house, yeah.
What type of things did you learn from your grandmother?
Oh, man. Harmony, because she's always singing around the house. So that's what I look for in melodic artists, harmony, stacking vocals, and just arrangements, but also kindness. Learned a lot of kindness from her. How to be strong, how to stand on what you believe in, how to be tough but kind at the same time. I think I have those qualities as well.
Okay, for sure. I don't want, if you're not comfortable answering.
Please,
I'm curious. You're openly gay.
Yes.
When did you come out? Or when did you realize that?
Well, I realized it
immediately.
I mean, 5 years old, kindergarten, But when I would say I came out, probably like high school.
Okay.
In high school.
Sure.
Yeah. People knew in high school.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You smoke weed?
Yes, I do. Shout out to King Paul.
You remember, or how old were you when you started smoking weed?
I first smoked weed in middle school, but I didn't do it a lot. And we used to smoke weed. Some people used to smoke out of apples. I never tried that, but I used to see them. That was my first time seeing people smoke weed. But whatever you can get your hands on, little joint paper or whatever. Obviously not King Palms.
For sure.
But so maybe in 7th, 8th grade. But I wasn't smoking heavily then. I didn't start smoking heavily until senior year in high school.
Okay.
Before that, I really didn't care for weed.
For sure.
Until then, yeah.
Me and my friends used to make bongs out of like Gatorade bottles and pens.
I've seen it. Water bottles, pen tops. I've seen it. Anything, but at that point, I just didn't like it until I got a little older and I could handle it. Because before, I'd just be stuck on stupid.
You prefer sativa or indica?
Indica, so I can sleep.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. You remember your first crush?
My first crush?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember my first crush. No, I don't.
For sure. Have you been in love?
Once or twice.
Yeah. You think it's worth it? Because you got to be vulnerable,
No, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like mushy. I hate it. I don't. It's not something I'm looking to fall in love again or nothing like that. I'm business oriented. I'm very focused on my goals. Maybe once I accomplish all my goals, then I'll be open to being in love. Do I love people? Absolutely. I'm very loving. But in love is too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're focused on you right now.
Always.
Yeah, I feel you. You think it's important to invest in yourself, like time or?
You got to, especially if you want somebody else to. That's how I feel about it. I feel like I have to. I just got to put in that time, dedication on what I want, and then I'll attract to me somebody that deserves me. So.
Okay, so let me backtrack. You're in high school, booking interviews and. Yeah. Whatever for artists,
PR,
right? Doing PR.
At that time,
Can you go a little more in depth on that? Like, cause I'm not really familiar with PR. But I know it's important.
It's very important at the time because this is like social media is going on, but it's not like it is today where it's like 24/7. So at the time, social media, we called it new media, was like 20-25% of an artist's capacity. Nowadays, it's damn near 75, 80, 90% of artist capacity, what they do on social media. So, and none of my friends in school would believe me when I tell them I would do these things until like I would start calling certain rappers or, they would see it in like, they would look at my phone or something like that, or they'll come to my house to see me sitting at my desk working on certain things. So PR really was just about getting up super early because you had East Coast outlets. This is during the blog era, mind you.
Okay.
So you want to be on Rap Radar. You want your artist to be on, or client to be on OK Player or NotRight.com, Two Dope Boys, these platforms. This is what's breaking artists at the time.
Okay.
Because LA or West Coast artists aren't getting played on the radio back then. So you had to get on blogs to get some notoriety. So I used to have to wake up hella early because time difference to make sure that when the bloggers woke up in New York, that they open their emails or check their phone and they see new music from my clients. So I used to get up like maybe 5, 6 in the morning, sometimes earlier than that, to make sure that when they woke up out there at 8 or 9, that they were looking at new West Coast music.
Okay,
so sending those emails early in the morning, pitches, press kits, things like that. And then I was big on brand collaborations. Like any merch brand I could find, I always pair an artist with a merch brand. Like, you're going to collab on this shirt. You're dropping an album called 123. You're going to do 123 shirts with this company. Stuff like that.
Okay. How did you find those relationships? You just reached out on the email?
Yeah, you just got to do your research, because it's not like, as a child, it's not like you out there networking. You get what I'm saying? So you just really have to do your research. Who's the entertainment manager at this brand? Like, I remember finding out who did entertainment marketing at Reebok, or who did entertainment marketing at this brand, at that brand, at Monster Energy, at different companies like that. Find out who's the marketing managers at these places. In order, at Karma Loop, at whatever brand, I want to know who does your entertainment marketing, because that's the person who's supposed to be dealing with rappers, and I represent rappers. So,
got it. Okay. When did you realize that you wanted to manage artists? I'm guessing that was the next step after that.
Yeah, it was a natural step. I was already working with the management team so closely, doing PR, and, you know, me being overly ambitious and a little cocky, I'm like, you know what, I could kind of do this better. I could oversee or manage everything, every aspect of an artist's career.
You were working with artists that already had motion at the time?
Yeah, so the first artist, notable artist I was working with, obviously, was 211. Who had signed with Young Jeezy CTE. He's from Inglewood as well. He had signed to Corporate Thugs Entertainment, and Snoop Dogg was co-signing him. So he had a co-sign from Jeezy and Snoop Dogg. He's from my hometown. I'm already handling all his social media. So about like my, I want to say 11th grade, senior year in high school, that's when we really started working more so on like his projects, Project of the Block 2, stuff like that, and it became more of a management role. Me connecting him with artists to get features, producers to get beats, things like label situations, introducing him to people at Empire, stuff like that.
Was he one of the artists that was just in the studio that you got into when you were 12?
That first studio, yes.
Okay.
He used to record there.
Okay. So I'm guessing like in the very beginning you were just at that studio, and then you kind of like started seeing more studios around, or what?
Yeah, more studios, as well as like one of my favorite things, my favorite part of the job literally was when we used to be able to go to Fairfax. Because at the time you had the blog era, but also like Fairfax was popping off, and you starting to see all the streetwear brands, and everybody's opening stores, and you could see Our Future and Tyler the Creator skating down the street, and Casey Veggies, and you see Dom, you see all these West Coast artists hanging out on Fairfax. So I'm going there after school, and we promoting music, and the clothing, this is how crafty I was. It used to be clothing stores that I know had photographers there. So I'd be like, you know what, you have a photographer, you have this space, why don't you interview the rapper and put it on your clothing website? So I used to do that with a few clothing stores on that street on Fairfax, and have them interview my clients. Even though they weren't media companies, I was turning these clothing brands into media outlets because we needed them on the West Coast. It was out of necessity.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new platforms now.
Yeah, plenty.
You think that's a good thing?
Yeah, we need as many as possible. I want there to be 1,000 more. Again, when still 15 years later, our artists aren't getting the amount of radio support that they need. So we need to make do with what we got, and we need more support. So I want it to be 1,000, 10,000 more platforms on the West Coast.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I actually have an idea. I've had this idea for a long time too. I'm trying to get all the logistics of it. But what I want to do is have a small stage. My dad helped me build. I put it right here. I've had a couple small events. Okay. But so I have a stage. What I want to do is have artists come in and do. Don't steal my idea.
This is yours. You got it on camera. This is your idea. I'll repost it.
I want to do like a kind of like an American Idol style show where I have them come in and they can perform, you know, maybe it's an EP or like part of an album, and do it over the beat, so actual recording over the beat, and then have live judges against the wall over there.
Yeah, that concept's been done, but we need more of those. Even I've done that with my Rap Report Card
Yeah,
Live.
I seen you do stuff like that too.
Yeah, with RJ and Joe Moses was for the first season. For the second one, it was RJ and Storm DeBarge.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. So, yeah, that we need that because it's all about artist development. At the end of the day, one is content. People get to sit at home and watch it and look on their phone and watch it. So there's that.
Yeah.
But also, if you really pay attention, like the judges are giving you hopefully giving you honest feedback that you could use to become a better artist.
Absolutely.
So why not accept that?
For sure. A lot of people I talk to like the idea. I think it would also be cool to have like a small live audience in here to do Q&A as well.
That'd be fire too afterwards. That's another element. That's adding some more content. Content is key. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let me refer real quick my phone. What's your dream blunt rotation?
My dream blunt rotation.
Yeah, let's say 5.
5 people I can smoke with, not including myself. That's a great question.
They don't have to be alive either.
I'm gonna have them alive. Ice Cube is one of them. F. Gary Gray, if he smokes. Dame Dash. That's 3. Elliot Wilson, even though I know him, but I would love to smoke with him. We haven't smoked. Elliot Wilson. How many more I got?
One more.
One more person. One more person that I would want to smoke. You could throw Dom Kennedy in there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Solid. What you ever try to make music?
Not as an artist, no, but writing songs and ghostwriting for artists, yeah, that's my thing. Because if I'm in the studio with an artist and I'm like, this is how you say this, or this is how you do this, or you should say this, you should put this right there, the X, Y, Z, that's how I am.
Right.
I can't help it.
Right. You're very phonically inclined.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't. Like, I love an arrangement, and I hear things how they're supposed to be, or at least how they're supposed to be in my head. And so even if they don't use it, I'd be like, you ain't got to use it. It's your project, it's your song, but try it. Like this, and tell me how you like it, and sometimes they like it.
How do you feel about song structure?
Song structure, it fluctuates. Sometimes you need something brief and short. Sometimes you need something that's a little airy and whimsical, and you kind of go on with the flow. It's just about different layers to it. But song structure is important. You need to know which structure you're going with. It can't just be all over the place. And it has to be right for, if this is a single, it needs the single format. If this is an album cut, you can have more leeway. Yeah.
You still work with artists in the studio at all?
Unintentionally.
Yeah.
The one for my upcoming project, the LA Rap Report Card compilation that I'm working on. So that is intentionally, but unintentionally, artists have me pull up and grade their project before it come out, or just play and get my thoughts, and I'd be like, you could redo this, and they'd be like, what you mean? I'd be like, well, you could say this like this, or you could stack these vocals, or you could add simulation to this, or those 4 bars this week, you need to swap them out. That's working with an artist.
Okay. So I'm going to backtrack again. You're getting into managing artists.
Yeah.
At what point are you going to, like, understanding the process in depth like that, like how you just explained to me what you're able to
the writing
to point out?
process?
Writing process, you're talking about stacking vocals, you're talking about...
I don't want to expose any artists, but there were artists, not 211, I'll clarify that, but there were other artists that I was working with after him, especially after I graduated high school and went to college and went to CSUN, that I definitely was in the studio with. I was just like, you're going to make it harder to do my job if the record's not right. That's why not just my inclination, but that's mostly why I would like rewrite verses or touch records, because it's like, if the record's here, it's going to be harder for me to work it.
Yeah.
But if the record's here, it's less work on me. It's easier for me to get somebody to play it or promote it or post it or write about it if it's a great record. Versus if you're making a mid record, I really got to go out there and sell it, and then you're making it harder for me. So we might as well just nip that in the bud and make a dope record.
What's the difference between a mid record and a dope record?
To me, mid is bad, to be honest.
But like, what elements go into the song to make it better?
If there's no elation, if it doesn't swell at a point, it's kind of like cooking. You know something's really cooking when the pot starts steaming out. You get what I'm saying? You start hearing that steam, that whistle kind of. I feel like every record should have that climax, should have that swell where it's like a sweet spot. It's like it's there. That's a great record. A mid record is a record that kind of lacks that umph.
Okay. So let's say I'm 18, I just got out of high school. I don't have a job, or I don't know what to do, but I think I want to rap. What do I do?
Okay. It depends on. I would say one, take care of your living situation, and if you got to get some income, whatever you do to get your income, because you're gonna need money to be in this. Unless you have an investor or family and friends are gonna put up money for you to chase your dreams. But definitely get the income going, and you could always write. It's free to write, so it's nothing wrong with having 1,000 songs written. That's working. That's working towards your dreams. That's you being a rapper. It's not necessarily you shooting 1,000 videos. You can't afford to do that right now, but you got 1,000 songs written. So when the time comes, you're ready to go.
So how much does it cost
to be a rapper?
It
gets more expensive every year. I mean, the cost of living gets more expensive every year. But me, I'm a magician, so I can make something out of nothing. But I would say the average person, you're gonna need at least a few $1,000s a month to really
put
maneuver as a rapper. At least a couple thousand.
Okay, so what should I put that couple thousand towards?
Recording, visuals, getting some merch made so you can make some of that money back, as well as the blog, all the blog placements and promo and stuff like that, digital marketing as they call it. It's you just put together a whole budget for these ancillary things, but the recording is not ancillary. You need that, obviously.
What does ancillary mean?
Ancillary is like additional things, like you want it, but you don't need it. Like you could be a rapper and not be on any blog. But you can't be a rapper and you don't have no songs. You ain't rapping. You get what I'm saying? For sure.
But if you're not doing anything besides just posting the song, I mean, are you really a rapper still?
You gotta have. I mean, you are a rapper technically, but I mean, if you just posted a song and think it's gonna pop, it's gonna be 1 in a billion chance. But you do have artists that just post their song on YouTube or Instagram and it just take off. But that's luck. You get what I'm saying?
I'm sure there has to be some talent involved too for it to go out. No,
in the song, it's something about it that people like. Just you being making a catchy hook. That's a talent,
Have you seen records blow up that you didn't like?
Plenty of records blow up that I don't like. But it's something I like about them.
Like that they blew up.
No, it's gonna be one little teensy-weensy element of it. Something. Whether it's catchy or they say one clever bar, it's gonna be that thing that you can't get out your head. Even though you hate the song, it's something about it that got you keep going back to it. So there's something you like about it.
For sure. You ever had a regular job?
I worked at FedEx for a few months when I was managing an artist and he needed studio time and he didn't have the money for it, and I was like all money in, so I went and got a warehouse job to pay for studio time so that we could put out the projects. The artist was Key Riches, rest in peace. And I wanted to make sure that we could record and get the projects we worked on was Get Rich 1 and Get Rich 2.
Okay, cool. So that scenario worked out on your investment?
At the time, obviously, he's no longer here with us. God rest the dead. But at the time, I was happy and confident in my decision to make sure I invested to do what I had to do to make sure we got Get Rich 1 and Get Rich 2. Those are two of his better projects.
Who was the first artist that you managed?
Officially, 211.
Okay.
Officially.
So let's say I'm a new artist, like I said, and also I'm paired with a new manager.
Okay.
How do we work together and move forward together? What's that relationship supposed to be like?
It's gonna be tough. I would say it's gonna be tough, but you just gotta thug it out and you gotta be dedicated to making it happen, and you just gotta make it happen. You just have to make it happen. No option other than we're gonna be successful, we're gonna make it happen. And because me personally, if I was an artist, I would want an experienced manager. But how does a manager get experience if he doesn't manage an artist? So it's like a catch-22. So the artists that are willing to believe and invest in a brand new manager, this your first time managing, that's dope, and appreciate that situation and thug it out if you can. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people like to do that because there has to be trust already. That helps a lot, I would assume.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's still business, so don't have too much emotion attached to it other than perseverance, if perseverance is an emotion.
Okay. Yeah. So let's say I just got out of high school, I want to be a manager. What do I
do? You find a rapper at that high school or maybe another high school. You find a rapper, I would say find a rapper around your age that you can spend time around. One, you got to be able to be around somebody, so you got to get along enough to be around that person. And just start, even if you got to start out as their assistant, even if you just start out as their professional homie. Yeah. Whatever you got to do, just whatever needs to be done, do it for them. And eventually you'll work your way up to being their manager.
Try to learn as much as you can.
Absolutely. And be of service. It's all about being of service. Every room I walk into, what can I do?
Figure out how to add value.
Always.
For sure. Have you ever made beats?
No, I've never made a beat.
Who are your favorite producers right now in the area?
On the West Coast?
Yeah.
The Eastie Boys. Shout out to them. I love the Eastie Boys. I love Jug. I like Load of Great stuff, Ron, but I love Jug, the Eastie Boys. That's what I'm rocking with right now.
You pay attention to engineers as well? You know, any good engineers?
Not by name.
Yeah.
Not by name, but I know bad engineering and good engineering.
Yeah, for sure.
But not by name, no. Not particularly.
For sure. Can you name some of like the other artists that you've managed and helped grow?
Officially 211, Key Riches, Burasini, an artist named Tyler J. I managed for a bit. Yeah, predominantly them, and I had years and years stints with them. And Key Riches was my last official client. Once he passed, after that, I went full force into media.
When was that? When was that?
This is a few years ago.
Okay. Why did you decide to do that?
I lost that for management. It's like I don't want to have that tied to me. That artist, like, wake up and my life revolves around an artist.
Right.
All day. And I feel like I can help more artists doing what I am. It's kind of like I'm everybody's manager. Everybody can come to me for advice and consult. Everybody can come to me for what to do with my rollout. Everybody does. Like, or how does this sound? Everything you would normally be asking your manager, that's what all these LA or West Coast artists can come to me and ask and do ask.
Why do you think so many people don't like your feedback?
I feel like people just don't like honesty. A lot of people in this world, I've learned that if you lie to somebody, they appreciate it. If you tell them the truth, they don't care for it. Just like somebody telling me you need to lose weight, I don't want to hear that. So I'm guilty of it too. You get what I'm saying? But if somebody walk there like, oh, you look great today. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? But if somebody came in like, you need to lose 50 pounds and da 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 da, I don't want to hear that shit. You get what I'm saying? So it's that same attitude. I look at it with artists and musicians. Like, you tell them the truth, they're gonna be hesitant to it. But just like I know I do need to lose weight, do need to work out more. Right. Artists deep down, they know, yeah, they could be doing better.
For sure.
So it's the same thing.
Okay. So ultimately, you want to help people grow.
Yeah, it's all about artist development. That's something that's lacking.
Yeah.
Artist development is definitely lacking in this time
okay,
period.
For sure. How do you think? You think that's because like the labels are not putting more effort into developing artists, or? Yeah,
the labels coming for the most part. There are some, but for the most part, labels just take an artist that they feel is already developed or they feel is already ready. Versus back in the day, you take an artist from scratch. You would get an artist that only made 5 songs, if that. It's artists that back in the day only had recorded twice before a label got involved and start working with them and start developing them. Nowadays, it's like you got to have a buzz. You already got to have some mixtapes out. You already got to have independent projects out. You already got to have features. You got to have everything already done. Then the label comes and do what they do. But
so back then, what was like the motivation to pick that specific artist? Is it just connections or what?
Just it could be off of connection, but also just hearing the talent, and then also people doing their job. You got to think in anything. Food used to taste better back in the day. Like, you go through a drive-through or a restaurant and the food would taste better because it would be somebody back there actually cooking it well. Whereas now it's just like microwave it real quick. It's instant. That's just the way of the world is what I'm saying. Like, nobody works as hard as they used to work back in the day. So label A&Rs and, artist handlers don't work as hard as they worked in the 80s or 90s or early 2000s. They don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. There's just so much more artists.
Yeah, but when you still do the work, just like a home-cooked meal, I'm going to keep bringing up food. But just like a home-cooked meal, it tastes better than some drive-thru if you just take your time and put it into it.
Okay, for sure. Sorry, I got so much that I want to
Please, take your time.
Pull out. But, okay, what do you look for in an artist?
Star power.
What's star power? How do you find that?
You either have it or you don't. You either get it or you won't. But I look for that star power or star factor. I look for that cool factor. and I look for the wow factor. Those are my 3 factors I look for. So are you a star? Are you cool? Meaning like, could someone want to be like you in order so that we could sell T-shirts and things like that, or any product, attach you to a product, people want to be like you, they want to emulate you, we can attach you to it. Then the wow factor, can you catch my attention from anywhere? Do you do things that shock people? Or are you just boring and bland like everybody else? Okay. So star power or star factor, cool factor, wow factor. I feel like those are the best artists.
You think personality is important?
Absolutely, but not for every single artist. If your music is so fucking good that I can excuse your personality or lack thereof, then cool. But if your music's just mid, you're gonna have to have a great personality to sell it.
Okay,
so,
for sure.
It's still important.
Okay, so earlier you said back when you first started doing MySpace and all that, that was not a huge percentage of like the activity that made up of.
No, there was other things.
Like what?
It was still back then. It was still street team. Like we still used to print up flyers and CDs and pass them out.
Selling CDs on the street.
Yeah, put up posters and club flyers and all of those things. It was all about but street team was a big part of that. Performances, which is still touring, is still a thing, but stage presence was more of a thing back then. Is what I'm saying.
For sure.
Than now, these artists don't even value it. They just get up there and mumble their words. But back then, if you didn't put on a good show, word would get around town that you can't perform and you're whack.
Yeah, nowadays, nobody's going to go.
They don't care about that. So there was performances, there were street team operations. Merchandise is still important, but merchandise was a thing back then. Merchandise is going to always be a thing. Yeah. So yeah, there's different areas of artistry.
Okay. At what point do I start selling merch as an artist?
The second you make a record that has a name. If I got, again, if my mixtape is called 1, 2, 3, there's no reason I'm not printing up, whether I can afford 25 shirts or 100 shirts or 1,000 shirts. Okay. I'm printing up shirts that say 1, 2, 3 on it with logo or the cover art or something, just so I can get some money coming back in. It might be somebody buying the shirt just because they like the design. They don't care about your music, but they like the design. And now they're walking around promoting your project on the shirt. Music and fashion and streetwear go hand in hand.
Okay. You think that element of hand-to-hand selling in the street, maybe now it's in the DMs, you think that's still like a skill that needs to be learned?
Yeah, that's I guess now that is the hand-to-hand, but no, hand-to-hand is hand-to-hand. Yeah. And because if you had an artist that you could pull up on and buy shirts from them or whatever they were selling, and why not? Yeah. So yeah,
that's an experience too for the fan.
General. Absolutely, but sales. Even if you go to a pop-up shop and the artist is there signing the merch, and you can take a picture with them, that's still sales.
Yeah, it's marketing too.
All in one, and then even somebody recording you, that's going to end up on a blog. Yeah, or taking pictures of you while you're doing this pop-up shop.
Someone throws a punch at you.
That too, you go viral. So it's all marketing.
For sure. You think all publicity is good publicity?
Publicity is publicity. I don't look at it as good or bad because in this day and age, because it's always going to be another story. So if everybody hates you today, it's going to be somebody tomorrow that everybody hates. So publicity is just publicity. Let's take the emotion out of it and just, are people talking about you? Are people tapping in with you? Are people engaging with you? Do people know who you are when you walk into rooms or step out of your car because of what they're seeing online or hearing about you, XYZ? Publicity is publicity.
Okay. So you think like a negative YouTube comment, a positive YouTube comment both have the same value?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Most of my engagements, I would say, are negative. Especially when I post a report card, it's people disagreeing. That doesn't hurt. At least they're engaging, right? As long as you're talking about it, as long as you're coming on my page talking about music with me, I don't need you to. I don't put my report card out for you to agree with me. I put my report card out so you can form your own opinion. So if I give an artist an F and you feel like he's an A, please leave that comment like, nah, you got him F'd up. He's an A. Right. I don't like that comment. For sure. That's good. It's their opinion. Yeah, and it's still an impression either way. Yeah, that's true. For sure. A share would be good too. That too, a repost, but sometimes people are reposting their story like, look at this bullshit, or he got my favorite artist effed up. Again, publicity is publicity. Yeah. You think that like platforms seek like negativity? What do you mean? I mean, like, obviously, if you're doing YouTube, right, like you're trying to get as much attention as possible. Yeah. I'm assuming you already know coming into it, like talking about
just straight up music is not going to get as much attention off the bat as like just drama or whatever, right?
Yes, which is kind of why, not why, but it helps that. So my controversy in music was giving artists Fs or reviewing an album poorly. That's still my form of controversy.
Yeah.
Now, something that irritates me is when people say, like, oh, I miss when you only used to talk about music, because it's like I have plenty of music-only content that you guys could go support.
Right.
But if I want to sit here and talk about pop culture or celebrity gossip or food, I'm doing a food report card now. I did a comedy report card. I have a weed report card. I did a blunt rap report card. Like, don't just put me in the music box. That's what I'm great at. But you have to let me expand my wings and grade other things and talk about other topics too. So that's something that kind of irritates me when people try to do that.
Did you think of that idea for a rap report card? Like, did you plan on that, or like, how did you get that idea?
No, so Kool Moe Dee, who's a rapper from the late 70s, he did it first in the 80s. He put out an album, and inside of his album sleeve was a rap report card. He gave himself a higher grade than all of his peers. So it kind of, in the 80s, went viral. However viral was in the 80s. Everybody talked about it. They got people talking about his album. If you buy his album and open it up, he makes a report card. He gives himself a good grade, and all the other rappers lower grades than him. LL Cool J, Run DMC, everybody else that are bigger names and quote-unquote better artists than him. So it was a marketing tool even for him. Then he did it again in the 90s, where he graded the Jay-Z's, the Tupacs, the Snoop Dogg's, the generation after him, and he still gave them lower grades than some would want. So it was, to me, I noticed the marketing of it. I noticed how not only could he share, if that's his opinion, not only did this rapper share his opinion on music, but he's also promoting these artists. You get what I'm saying? At the same time, and then several publications, Ego Tripping, countless publications have done the rap report card since the 90s, before I was born, or when I was an infant, when I was a baby. So it's been going. This is something that hip hop has been doing since the 80s. But no one had did it for West Coast rappers, specifically for LA or specifically for any city. So in 2022, when I made the LA rap report card, that was the first time somebody did it for us, and I felt like we needed an emphasis on hip hop. Everybody was putting emphasis on gang culture, where you from, what you banging, what you did in the street. I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about how these rappers rap and their bars, their lyricism, their cadence, their flow. So I brought that hip hop element that's predominantly East Coast, Kool Moe Dee and New York rappers, to LA.
I mean, it's the music business that we're in, right? So
I agree.
I think that's you can't say that that's not good.
Well, some people don't feel that way, but I feel that way.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, I think people do feel like, why are you being negative, right? They
a lot of people felt that
way. Label a bad grade as negativity.
I don't know.
But it's really just an opinion.
Just one opinion.
Yeah, it's just your opinion.
Just imagine the A was there. If you don't like the F, just blink real quick and imagine it was an A there. What's the difference?
I think the move would be to make your own report card, like you were saying.
I put out a blank report card. And people have done it. I put out a blank report card presented by King Palm, and fans filled them out, and I sent them a bunch of King Palms, whoever filled out the report card. And I've been doing that. So I put out blank report cards as well.
How do you get your ideas for your music memes that you be posting?
It brings me much joy. The best part of my day is when I'm working on a music meme or just music-related content. It brings me peace. It settles me. No matter what's going on throughout my day, if I sit down and come up with a challenge for the timeline, lunch tables or gas stations or all the different quirky things I do online, like pick this album, pick this mixtape, I always make them challenging too. I want it to be like impossible to choose. I don't want it to be like easy. Oh, that's easy. Table away. Like, no, I want you to be like, fuck this nigga.
You want people to comment.
Yeah. So it brings me much joy. I'll be smiling when I make those.
Yeah. How did you get good at creating engagement? What is the secret to that? The
secret to creating engagement, it could just be a natural gift, but also just, again, being a great communicator, conversationalist. It's kind of just like put it on paper. These type of skills. And just the schools I went to Inglewood Christian School in Inglewood. It was a private school. So I went there for like 6 years. And so I remember taking creative writing class and taking journalism. And I remember I was a school newspaper editor in elementary. I was a school newspaper editor in middle school. And I was a school newspaper editor in high school, in Inglewood High School. So I always had to create something to get people to pay attention, because what kid really cares about the school newspaper unless you have somebody writing very provocative stories like I used to.
What do you mean provocative stories?
So I used to do like sports stories was my favorite. So instead of just sitting there and just writing down the score and putting it in the newspaper, it's like, no, I'm gonna write every move this player made, and then next week I'm gonna pick another player and write every move that player made, and that would be my form of writing about it. Very meticulous, attentive, creative writing, and that would get somebody, because then this week I'm the player of the week. So now they show in the newspaper to all their friends and family, XYZ. Now people now the school newspaper is relevant. And I guess I applied that to A Day in LA magazine and what I do now.
A Day in LA, is that your brand?
A Day in LA magazine. A Day in LA by Dejon Paul, yes.
Okay. That's the festival that Draco was at? Is that the same thing?
No. That's Once Upon a Time in LA.
Once Upon a Time in LA.
Rest in peace, Draco.
Yeah,
totally
rest in
different.
peace, Draco.
I've never thrown a festival.
Yeah.
I've never thrown a festival. That was wild, but no. So there is a Day in LA tour company. Obviously, that's a common name, A Day in LA. There's a Day in LA tour company. You'll see the bus driving around LA, taking people that fly in from tourists, taking them all around LA. People will send me their bus like, is this you? I'm like, no, I don't own a tour bus giving people tours of the Hollywood. That's why I make sure I specify A Day in LA by Dejon Paul.
Got it. So that's a magazine?
Yes, it's a blog, then turned into a magazine, yes.
Okay. How often do you post a blog on there?
Well, it used to be a daily blog. I used to do daily blog write-ups, but then I became a physical print magazine in 2020 with AZ Chike. That was my first cover, like August 2020 with AZ Chike on it. You
do monthly prints, or how often do you print?
I used to do monthly prints. Now it's quarterly, 4 times a year. So last year the most notable one was 310 Baby, where he had the graduation cap. He graduated from high school with a platinum plaque. Yeah. So I'm like, let's do a photo shoot. Let me pull up and interview you, and put you on the cover of the magazine. Then he had me host his concert, sold out concert at the Novo. I dressed up as his principal and passed out diplomas. So we got a whole rollout for the magazine cover. Yeah.
Cool. You have another one coming up this quarter?
Yeah, I won't reveal the rapper, but I do. But also at the end of last year, I dropped my 5th annual LA freshman cover. Right. I do that every year. We had Dodie Six on there, who ended up, blowing up after that. LA Skywalker, Mr. Bankroll, Lily Baby, Big Eve, Samad, who's really popping and viral nationally. Out of all the artists, he's popping most virality wise. Yeah, Tommy TK.
You dropped those in the 4th quarter? Or?
Yeah, that came out in October, November. Presented by Pro Club and King Palm.
Okay.
5th one.
So out of, there's some artists that have a solid buzz right now, growing buzz. Aside from those, who do you think is like artists to look out for in 2025?
Upcoming artists to look out for. That's the artists I put on the LA freshman cover. Those are my picks for artists that are going to blow up in 2025. Now, did I know Dodie Six was going to end up on GNX? Had no idea. So he popped off 4th quarter, December, November of that year. But the artists I put on that LA freshman cover are the artists I would suggest.
I mean, Dodie was doing numbers even before he got out. I don't know if you've seen.
And then once he came out, he got hella consistent and started putting out hella music, a lot of music videos. That's why I had to have him on the cover. He almost didn't make it, and he actually got arrested the following day. Oh, wow. And I was like, dang, I hope he gets out in time for the cover to drop, and he did, thank God. So, yeah.
Can you name a few names from the list, if that's your prediction for 2025? Can I hear some?
Tommy TK is on there. ATM Danny was on the cover. Samad, Lily Baby, Gutter Bracken, artists like that.
For sure. If you could go back and give advice to yourself at, say, 16 years old, what would it be?
Oh, man. To be frankly honest, I would have told myself to do something else. Why? I felt like, and people used to always tell me like, I still have friends and family that tell me like, you so intelligent, you could be running the world, you could do anything. A lot of people are like, why are you wasting your time on these LA rappers? Why are you wasting your time on these West Coast rappers? We don't listen to them. They, they're not gonna get out of LA, but I still have an affinity for it. Yeah. But to be honest, if I could go back to my 16-year-old self, I could have been a doctor, a lawyer, or a politician. I could have done anything. Right. I'm intelligent enough to have done all those great things. But I'm still doing great things. This is just my passion. I'm fulfilling what's in my heart. But if I could go back in time, I would have told myself, go with your mind.
I feel you. I mean, you never know. That could have been rewarding also.
Yeah, as well. Both going to work out, but that's what I would say.
Where do you think most rappers can improve?
In the categories I put across the report card, in those 12 categories.
Okay. Were you like meticulous in choosing those categories?
I feel like they were all fundamental. Now, originally style wasn't on there, but people kept requesting, like, and they were saying, like, especially our artists, they don't know how to dress, or they're not doing the photo shoots or showing off the drip. Maybe they do know how to dress in their personal life, but we don't get to see it. And to me, like I just said, music and fashion, music and streetwear go hand in hand. So I feel like every artist should have signature pieces and signature looks that you always remember. You're going to remember, like, oh, so-and-so used to had a jacket like that on the album cover or in that music video, da-da-da-da. Things like that are important. So I added style, but originally style wasn't on the first report card I put out.
You talked about the importance of merch. Would you ever put merch as a category?
That's part of branding. So branding is a category. So if you have a clothing line, or I do see you do a lot of merch, that's going to boost your branding score. Like YG has 400 apparel, so I can never give him no 2 or 3 in branding. Like that's a $50 million company, and sold in Zoomies, PacSun, all over the country. Things, artists with brands like that.
For sure. Where do you think producers or engineers can improve?
I speak for LA or West Coast. I feel like our producers need to produce and not just beat make. Don't just sit and make beats, send them out. You need to get in the studio with these artists and do what I do, which is coach them. When I'm in the studio with them, tell them, like, hey, you need to rewrite that. Say this again. Your delivery is lazy there. Stop mumbling. Be coherent so we can understand your words. XYZ. Really coach and executive produce the record as well. And also, I would say to our producers or aspiring producers, take accountability, take responsibility. So this is your space. So if it was holes in the wall and dirty and rappers everywhere, who would be accountable for that? You. So if you're the producer, meaning you're responsible for the product, if LA rap music or West Coast music is lacking in any regard, it's on the producer to fix it. I hold you accountable. So I hold producers accountable, which is why I do the producer report card.
That makes a lot of sense.
I agree.
Where do you think you could improve as a media person?
Me, man, if there was more time in the day, if I had more time, I would be on top of my game. I'm doing great with my album reviews. I've been writing hell, and people joking. I've seen different platforms clown me for writing 10-page reviews, and I'm like, congratulations, you making fun of me because I know how to write well. So I feel like in my writing regard, I'm doing phenomenal. But if I had more time, I definitely would be putting out a lot more content. So on my YouTube, I'll say my daily YouTube and my rap report card YouTube. Having 2 YouTube channels is a challenge, but putting out more content.
You enjoy writing?
I love writing.
Like when you do like an album that you don't like at all, you still enjoy writing? The
writing part of it is fun. Yeah. That's why when you see those album reviews, I do the individual report cards. Yeah. You can,
how descriptive can I say that they suck?
You said what?
You say, how descriptive can I be with how bad they are?
That's my artistry. That's me writing the record. You get what I'm saying? I get to be creative. How can I motivate this artist to do better? Not only that, but how could I motivate an artist that's reading it to do better? 2 birds, 1 stone. I want to affect as many people at once as I can. Yeah. So I have to use creative language and provocative language. Express what's really in here, but you dress it up some.
You think it's smart to pay for features as an artist?
If it's the right feature, don't pay for no bullshit.
Yeah, how do you know if it's the right feature?
You better use them ears. You know a bullshit artist versus an artist that's really gonna take that. Because some artists will just do the feature, go in there and mumble some words, or give you a verse they already gave to 3 other artists, and then run off with $1,500 or $2,000 or $5,000. Yeah. You want an artist that's professional, that's really gonna give you a fresh verse or a fresh hook, that's really gonna take it serious and give you your money worth.
So what do you go off of that? Just like word of mouth? Who's bought a feature before? Or like,
you could just check their track record. Go to Apple Music and see the featured appearances and see how it is. Are they giving these artists bullshit, or are they really stepping to the plate? As well as, are they going to agree to do the video? Because a lot of times the artists will give you the feature, but if you don't do the business right and agree hand, like, I want the verse and the video.
You got to say they
give you a fire. No? If they sign, if they sign, if they're independent, you just need them to agree to do the video, because don't give me no fire verse and then we can't shoot no video to the song once it go viral.
For sure. So you think it's smart to have a plan in place, like when you're buying a feature, have a contract?
Yes, unless you have that sort of rapport with the artist. Right. But otherwise, other than that, there needs to be some sort of even on the split sheet, and then send me an email committing to doing the video. Just send me an email, and then I have that.
Yeah. What's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
to get out of my own way.
What do you mean by that?
Only person that can stop me is me.
For sure.
I have to just get out of my own way. There's no obstacle other than myself. Any obstacle I face, I can get over. The only if I don't try, if I don't, you feel me, present myself and assert myself, then I'm not going to accomplish it. But anything I want to accomplish, I can accomplish. So get out of my own way. Stop being scared of success. Stop being scared of who I am, how great I am, things like that.
Yeah, you believe in yourself. Whatever you put your mind to, you'll get it done.
Manifest it and just go get to it. No excuses. That's what I'm about. Getting to it.
Put in the work. Important. What's the biggest lesson you've learned in the music industry?
The biggest lesson I've learned in the music business. Authenticity. Authenticity works. Be myself. Dress it up.
Yeah.
But be myself. I have to be myself. That's when it works. When I'm not being myself, it doesn't work. When I don't speak my mind, it doesn't work. The second I start speaking my mind about these records, everybody knew who Dejon Paul was. But I was posting about music for years before I did the report card or before I started being so hypercritical of music. But once I did that, everyone knew who I was. I was just being myself. I was just speaking my mind. So be authentic. Be who you are, and what is meant to gravitate to you will, and what you're meant to come into will. You will.
Okay. So at what point, because when you first started becoming like a media person, right, you hadn't come out to the public in that way. There was a moment, where people realized that you were gay?
I thought it should just be obvious. If you just watch me for about 12 seconds, 13 seconds, it's about obvious. You just listen to my voice, watch my facial expressions, my mannerisms, and things like that. Yeah. Again, I was out in high school. People knew in high school. So like in my personal life, everybody knew. I never had a girlfriend. I don't have children. Yeah. And I'm about to be 30. So.
But you know, like, in the hip hop industry, there's a lot of like probably macho masculinity, toxic masculinity. That's the word I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so what have you? Yes, let's keep it a buck. I'm the first openly gay person in the history of West Coast hip hop media. Yeah. You never seen an openly gay person cover West Coast hip hop. LA rappers, I don't know of them.
I don't know. Yeah,
so that's definitely a challenge. But I'm also the most opinionated, controversial figure in the history of West Coast hip hop. Nobody's been brave enough to tell these gangster rappers, you could do this better, you could do that better. Yeah. So, that's just me. I'm bold. I'm audacious like that.
You think you've seen improvement in the music that's coming out since you've been doing that?
A great deal. Yeah. A great deal. Absolutely.
What do you think that we could do as a whole? I mean, you mentioned like it would be great to have more outlets, things like that. But like, let's say, what could I do to help us grow?
Continue to do what you're doing. I've been seeing plenty of artists come through here in front of this sign, that sign, and promote their music. So that's great. But if I had to give you a tangible, something less vague, that idea you was talking about the performances and reviews, artist development. Yeah. We necessarily shouldn't have to. We should just be able to be platonic media platforms and be corporate and get to the bag. Yeah. But when the West Coast comes from such a deficiency that we've had for so long, us media persons, we have to overhaul. We have to do more work. We have to go above and beyond. We can't just do the job. We got to go above and beyond because the West Coast was so far behind. Yeah. If you miss so many days in school, when you come back, you got a lot of work to catch up on. That's what I'm saying. So we got to do a lot more work than a media platform in Atlanta. Like their artist is just going to pop. Versus us, like we got to do a lot more to get our artists to pop.
That makes sense. It kind of is the same concept of when you started out, just getting in the studio and making sure that the records are right. Yeah. I think like even to an extent, like myself as a platform, like that's something I can take responsibility on too if you
want to, yeah. It's a challenge, but it's worth it because, like I said, I don't have to promote as much if it's a dope record. Absolutely. But if you keep bringing me bullshit, weak records, I got to sit here and promote all day long to get people to like this bullshit. But if you bring me some fire, I really just got to throw it up in the algorithm and people are going to take to it. So let me help you make fire. And so I do two birds, one stone. I help you make fire, but I'm also making content out of it, i.e. the rap report card, all in one. I'm all about problem solving and efficiency.
And you said you're going to drop a project, right? You're featuring artists?
Yes, LA Rap Report Card compilation.
Where are you getting the beats from?
I've been working with some with different producers.
Okay.
And then different artists. So I have Ralphie the Plug on a song called Rap Report Card.
How many songs you plan on dropping on that project?
I want 12 to 13. I want to keep it brief.
Okay.
But Ralphie the Plug on a song called Rap Report Card. Big Sad on a song called Ghetto, produced by Jug and Soldado. I have Airplane James on there. I got Reason on the outro. I got T-Fly on there. RJ is a co-executive producer. I have to make sure I say co, but because I'm executive producer as well. But RJ has agreed to co-executive produce the project with me and put final touches on it. So it's going to be a masterpiece.
How many songs are done?
I'm only a couple records away from being where I want to be.
You want to drop this year?
I am dropping
You're dropping this year? When?
It'll be out before the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, before the summer.
I look forward to it.
Thank you. Can't wait to press play for you.
I had reached out to you before about coming on my platform as a judge. That was the concept I was talking about.
I'm there. Especially
sure.
now that I know where you at. Yeah.
For sure.
There. I'm here.
Yeah, I would love your support. I want to help, people grow, and
that's gonna be perfect. That's fire. I can see it. I can see me sitting there with 2 other judges, and you bringing the artist to the stage, and us getting to it. I'm gonna be honest though. I gotta let you know.
No, do
I'm
your thing. You gotta do you.
Honest. I can't.
You gotta do you.
Yeah.
But and I make sure I'm not gonna have anyone who isn't open to feedback. That's the whole point of the thing.
Well, they should know what they signed up for, especially if they see my name or anything. Like this guy's gonna tell me the truth about my music. That's what I do.
How often do you give a review and it's like, that was flawless? I don't even have any.
Nothing's flawless to me. I think that's why I'm Dejon Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy who I was like, Victory Lap's a masterpiece, but I'd have put one more lady record on there. I'd put a lady record. Like Mailbox Money got that Between Us record with K Camp. I'd have threw that. I would have threw something with that vibe on Victory Lap. You get what I'm saying? Or different any project, I could always find just one thing I would have did subtly different. Yeah, that's just kind of my. But that could also work in a negative aspect too, because I'm like that with people, and people don't like that.
What do you mean by that?
People could be like, "Damn, you just so hard." People be like, "You so hard on me." Like friends, they'll be like, "Oh, you just so hypercritical. You just hypercritical of me." And it's like I want to be treated a certain way.
You just want them to be better, though.
I want them to treat me better, and by doing that, you'll be better. Yeah.
As an artist, how do I know if I should stay independent or sign to a label?
That's a great question. I say this. I put it like this, and this is actually one of my favorite questions to answer. If you make radio records and club records and dance records, you might need a label, or you're going to need a whole bunch of money to work your records on radio, get it to every club DJ across the country, XYZ. Now, if you make conscious music, boom bap, or music that you just roll up and smoke a blunt to, don't necessarily need a label. You just need a really good publicist and a really good team. But if you make music, rhythmic music that you dance to, whether you listen to on the radio or in the clubs, somebody needs to pay those hundreds of thousands of dollars to promote your record to radio and club DJs across the country or across the world. So unless you got that type of investor situation, I would sign with a label. Is
that because there's more competition in that realm than in the other?
What do you mean by competition?
So you're saying that you're gonna have to put money behind those party tracks, right?
Absolutely.
Versus conscious rap that's gonna be able to build their own audience? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Because it's something to it more so.
Okay.
So if you divulging your life story normally, or it's more substance to it, you're developing a personal relationship with your fans versus just making a record for women to shake their ass to. Okay. You get what I'm saying? So it's like
you're still gonna have to invest in yourself, though, right?
No, you need a team, but that's why I said get a good PR, because say you want interviews, you're a weed smoke type of rapper. You're still gonna want interviews. You feel me? You still gonna want good branding. You're still gonna want playlisting, but a dope PR can get you that. But I feel like the only thing a record label could really provide for you is radio access, national club or international club spins, the powerhouse stuff, things that cost a lot of money. Okay. Finances.
And you're saying that you don't necessarily need that as a conscious rapper?
No, as a conscious rapper, why do you need to be all over the radio? They're not gonna want to play that.
Right. That makes sense. For sure.
Or in the club. Why are they playing your music in the like? You get what I'm saying? Like,
you think Kendrick is a conscious rapper?
He is, but he made some party songs and club songs with GNX But he is traditionally a conscious rapper. Absolutely, one of the greatest.
Which ones are the party songs on GNX?
The Peekaboo record with AZ Chike, Hang Out with Dodie, TV Off with Lefty Gunplay. Those are like party songs, West Coast party songs.
Yeah.
That I'm really, everyone, not just me, everybody's really
Great
enjoying.
Album. Yeah.
Phenomenal album. I gave it a B plus, 89.
That's big for you.
Yeah. It's damn near A to other people. But
who's gotten an A on the album?
I believe Chromacopia got a 90, 1 point over it. So yeah, those and those are the only two projects in recent since Victory Lap that I would give an A.
Were you grading back then, Victory Lap?
In 2018, no, I wasn't grading. I did the report. My LA Rap report card didn't come out until 2022, so I wasn't grading. But hypothetically, I would have gave that an A.
You have any hobbies that the fans might not know about?
I love to color.
Okay.
I love coloring books.
Yeah.
It brings me much peace to just sit there and color.
You use just like regular crayons, or
no? I use color pencils.
Colored pencils. Okay.
I love to color.
What type of coloring books?
I have hip hop coloring books where I'm coloring rappers, and then plants. I love greenery, so I just color to calm myself.
Yeah, it sounds relaxing.
Myself. It's very relaxing.
Color, smoke. You got a favorite movie, favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show is Entourage. I watch it over and over and over. That's my favorite TV show. What other shows do I like though? I love Family Guy. I love any like kind of adult cartoon, American Dad, like cartoons where people be cussing, the Solar Opposite, stuff like that. Movies, favorite movie, Jakey Promoters, Ice Cube and Mike Epps.
Yeah,
but also like I love Devil Wears Prada. That's probably my favorite movie too. People don't know Devil Wears Prada. It's either between Jakey Promoters or Devil Wears Prada, which kind of is like my whole personality. If you blend those two movies, you get Dejon Paul.
Solid list for sure. Yeah. You have a message for the youth?
A message for the youth.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Gotta be who you are in this world.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Be comfortable with that.
I'm sure people look up to you as someone who like paved the way for what you do, and probably want to be like you.
That's fire. That's
dope. What do you have to say to them? What kind of advice do you have for them?
Oh man, it's challenging. It's difficult. Being Dejon Paul, it's very, very, very difficult. But when you're the first to do certain things, I hear that it's going to be challenging.
Yeah.
And all I have to say to them is I hope it's way easier. I'm not going to be like the people that came before me that wanted me to go through the same rigorous process they went through as West Coast media people. I hope it's easy and smooth sailing for you. I want to go through all the hardships so that when you get, I want you to work, but I don't want you to have to go through the hardships and challenges I went through. I just want you to be able to do your job and succeed.
Have you seen any type of example of what you're doing? Like you're talking about, like people want you to go through the same hardships. Like who are you talking about?
Excuse me?
Like you're saying, like to get you reference like you're paving the way.
Yeah.
And no one kind of really paved the way for you.
Yeah.
But were there people that you like studied?
Oh yeah, but they're mostly on the East Coast. So like Elliot Wilson, again, who I've met a few times. I tell him every time I meet you, like, your work changed my life. I remember as a kid, my father had this glass coffee table, and underneath it was shelves. So and it was filled with Source and Double XL magazines. And Elliot worked at both. He worked at The Source as a music editor. Then he was editor-in-chief of Double XL. When he was at Double XL, he had an alter ego called YN. And I used to read, it was on one of the first pages, editorial address. And he used to write diss records to whatever rapper he was beefing with, and that was his version of social media or the controversy you see me doing. He used to do that on that page, his editorial address. Everybody who opened that magazine know you go to that page and you see Elliot popping shit, or YN, young nigga, is what he used to go by. So Elliot Wilson, Dave Mays at The Source, Kim Osario from The Source, Maddie C, who used to do the unsigned hype columns. Biggie, Eminem, Big Pun, all of those artists came through the unsigned hype. That's how they got their record deals. So he was technically breaking artists. Eventually, Loud Records, ran by Steve Rifkin, hired him to be the A&R there. Gave him his own office because it's like, look, you breaking artists, you need to come be an A&R here. So it was a lot of East Coast figures that carried that hip-hop culture. Chris Lighty, rest in peace, the greatest manager of all time, who taught me of Violator Management. He had 50 Cent, Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes, all the way up to Mariah Carey. Anybody you could think of, Foxy Brown, everybody was on Violator Management or Violator Records. And he taught me that an album is the greatest marketing tool. And that's what I be trying to tell LA rappers that want to be single driven. It's like, if somebody's having a single release party tonight, are you going? Or a single listening party? Am I going to get in my car, get dressed, and drive across town to hear a song? Or if you're having an album release party, now I'm going to get up, get dressed, and drive to hear 10, 12, 15 songs. But I'm not just going to drive to hear one song. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or if you put out a song, yeah, you got merch. But if it's an album title or album cover on the shirt or the hoodie, I'm going to really buy it. So he taught me that the album is the greatest marketing tool there is in the music business.
Okay. You think that's still true to the same extent? No?
Yeah, I would say that, because look at how Snoop is still selling Doggy Style merch. You get what I'm saying? That's an album.
Okay.
And people are going to always remember that imagery and those graphics from that album. And yeah, so the album is still the greatest. Yeah.
It's a valid argument. Are you interested in any other type of business outside of music?
Entertainment, yes. I want to make movies. I want to write movies. I want to make movies, produce them, direct them. Yeah. Star in a few. Some movies, television. I want to be a showrunner one day and run television sets. It's pretty much all entertainment, fashion as well, some lifestyle brands. So yeah, entertainment and fashion. Yes. Food as well. I want to have restaurants as well.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
What's your biggest goal in life? What do you want to accomplish?
My biggest goal in life, I just want to be wealthy. Whether that's 100 million, $1 billion, whatever, I want to be wealthy. I want to be my own boss. I never want to have another boss again. I'll do partnerships. The only thing I'll do as far as having a definite boss where I'm not collaborating or partnership is if I become president of Def Jam. If I'm president of Def Jam, I'll do that. But I don't see myself wanting another boss. I've been through that. So yeah, being my own boss, being wealthy, being successful, and just that's my goal. Yeah.
What do you think it's going to take to get there?
Hard work and perseverance. I have those qualities. I got it. It's already done. It's already done.
Set in stone.
Yep.
You think networking is important?
Yes, but not to me as much as it is to other people. To certain people, that's all they have. That's all they have is how nice they can pretend to be to people. Or they I'm friends with a famous person. I roll his blunts. I drive his car type shit. Me, I have a skill. It's a skill outranks the networking to me, outranks the relationship to me. Yeah. As long as I can hear and a record comes on, I can write how I feel about it, and I can make a living from that. So for me, skill set comes before networking, but networking is very important.
For sure. Have you ever been depressed?
Depressed?
Yeah.
Yes, but music helps me through it. Every time. That's why I love music so much, because it can draw me out of any funk I'm in. It's certain songs I could cut on, and I'm going to just naturally feel better.
You believe in God?
I do.
Why?
Was raised to, like I said, grandmother's religious. Growing up in church, I went to a Christian school, Bible class, first period every day from first to sixth grade. Chapel on Friday, meaning you wear shirt, tie, dress shoes. Yeah. All the teachers are preachers /
you enjoyed
teachers. That? At times.
Yeah.
And I just love the stories of the Bible. Necessarily, the Bible stories are always entertaining to me, and it's a lesson from them, the parables and stuff like that. I just love the lessons and the wisdom you get from a good Bible story. So yeah, that's why I believe in God, because of wisdom.
Yeah, that makes sense. You think saving money is important?
Yes, absolutely. Financial literacy is very important. It wasn't something that I got into until I was in my late 20s. You being younger, you just spend. But as you get older, as you become more of a man, you know that you got to put some money aside for a rainy day. Yeah. So that just comes with growing up.
You good with saving money?
Now.
Yeah. You got to learn that lesson for sure.
You have to learn the lesson.
Yeah.
But when you're young, you want to buy every new shoe, every new jacket that came out, every new game, every new this, that, and the third. But again, I'm about to be 30, so I learned a few years ago, you need to put some money aside for a rainy day. So, yeah.
What are you looking forward to in the future?
Doing my job.
Yeah.
I love it.
Would you ever would you manage artists again?
if the situation presented itself for me to do that, man. But I would have to. I was the type of manager, like, I was dedicated to the artist and being of service.
Yeah.
So if I did the management company, you wouldn't be seeing me on camera anymore. Yeah. My attention would be on them. I don't feel like you can manage an artist and then try to be like all in the videos and all in on the camera, stuff like that. Your attention, the brain can only do so much. So your attention is not going to be fully on your artist. To me, the manager, when you wake up, your job is to service your client. Yeah. Not to shoot content, not to get attention to yourself, but for your client. So if I did get back into management, I would stop doing on-camera media.
What if you had your team of managers that were doing that hands-on stuff, and you're managing the team of managers?
That would just be starting a management company.
Right.
But as far as being their artist manager, that's different. But that's just owning a management company. That's pretty much investing and supervising.
Would you start a record label?
Yes, I would. I would.
What would be like the first steps in someone who wants to start a record label?
If having some money, or partnering with an investor, but having some money, finding the space, getting the artists, things like that.
For sure. For sure. Well, that's pretty much all I got. You want to leave them with anything else? I
appreciate it. Thanks for coming through. Please make sure you tap back in. Obviously, recently I departed from FMW, so I'm back fully focused on my platforms. A Day in LA magazine and rappaportcards.com. So I'm doing a Day in LA live stream / podcast once a week, Rappaport Card podcast once a week. About to start doing Rappaport Card lives again with some celebrity judges. So I have plenty of content out there. Please make sure you tap in with it. Also, lastly, the 2025 LA Rappaport Card will be out very, very, very soon. It's January. I drop it every January. So
cool. Looking forward to it.
I want to come back and talk about that report card with you soon too.
We can talk a lot more.
Go through the grade. We could debate through the grades.
You know, I think that's a good idea because I have my own opinions as well, and they don't always match yours.
That's great. Let's do that. You're gonna sit on camera with me, and we're gonna debate the grades.
All right, we can.
All right, Val. I'll pull back up.
All right.
Yep.
Yes, sir. That's a wrap.
For sure.